We're a few hours away from moving into step 2 of the province's reopening plan, and theater companies are eager to open up their curtains. But some say they're stuck in a holding pattern. The city has finalized plans for Canada Day. We'll tell you how officials are trying to find a middle ground. A live look at our city there. We've got a heat warning and a severe thunderstorm watch in Windsor, Essex. We had a period of rain earlier this afternoon, and there's more likely to come. Colette Kennedy will join us later in the program with the full weather forecast. Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. Chris is away. Even after this afternoon's thunderstorms, the heat, the humidity, it continues. Southwestern Ontario is getting hit quite hard, but it'll start to cool down in a little bit soon. CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa joins me now live from Sandpoint Beach. Jen, a range of conditions all day long. What is it like right now?
Kat, it is hot and sunny, but it's the perfect day to be here at the beach and take a dip in the water. I'm here actually 5 days early. The city was supposed to open this area July 5th, but they bumped it to help people cool down. I was here actually this afternoon, and the people that I spoke with were happy to be in the sun, but they were even happier to be near water.
It's a nice weather, and my girls, they want to just jump into the water because we don't have swimming pool at my house. So they need some water, so I brought them over here.
I like about today is I'm at the beach and I love swimming in the ocean. For me, it's kind of hot, not that bad because I was in the water. We're gonna stay here for a little bit, and we probably will get ice cream.
I love how the water is. When we first got here, it was way too hot, so I went in. But like right now, I like how the temperature is because it's just relaxing and it's cool.
Environment Canada issued a heat warning for Windsor, Essex and Chatham-Kent this morning. Here in Windsor, the temperatures hit a high of 32 degrees this afternoon, and the heat is expected to continue into tonight. Now, the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit also issued a heat warning today. It advises people to be aware of heat-related illness, which includes dizziness, headache, nausea or vomiting, as well as weakness and confusion. Anyone working or exercising outdoors, including younger children, pregnant women, older adults, and people with chronic illnesses, are asked to take precautions. People are also asked to only go outside during the coolest parts of the day and to never leave people or pets in parked vehicles.
And Jen, we're not the only ones in extreme heat right now, so tell us about what other parts of the country are experiencing.
Well, it's being called the heat dome. Now, we're not experiencing that here, but it's passing throughout BC and now Alberta. This heat wave is shattering historic heat records across Western Canada. Yesterday, one part of BC actually had the highest recorded temperature in Canada, 47.9 degrees Celsius.
That sounds sweltering, I can only imagine. Now, Jen, what are some ways that people can stay cool right now?
Katerina, the health unit put out some to-dos. The most obvious one is to drink water, even if you're not thirsty. Other ones include wearing hats, lightweight, loose-fitting clothes, take a bath or a cool shower, and check in on friends or neighbors. Now, the City of Windsor has also opened up a temporary cooling spot. That's at the Windsor International Aquatic and Training Center on Pitt Street West. City staff will be there midday, 11 to 4, to help out until this heat warning is over. There's also 8 splash pads across the city, and those outdoor pools are going to open on Monday. Katerina.
Thanks for this, Jen. The CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa reporting live from Sandpoint Beach. Ontario is moving into step 2 of reopening tomorrow, and this means bigger gatherings, haircuts, and for theater groups, it's one step closer to being able to open up their curtains. They'll get the green light for outdoor performances and indoor rehearsals. It's joyful for some, but not nearly enough for others. These empty seats are staying empty, at least for a bit longer. Indoor performances won't be allowed until stage 3, and so far, few details around what that will actually look like.
It's tough for everybody, so I'm not just complaining for me. It's tough, but like our sector has been hit really hard. Like entertainers have not been able to entertain.
Some feel like the industry has been left behind. This next step at least offering a light at the end of a tunnel for some.
We're very, very excited that we can finally move to step 2. We've been rehearsing via Zoom for a while now, and it's just not the same.
Post Productions is set to open a play later this summer, an indoor show, provided Step 3 kicks in by then. If not, they'll delay and add show dates. The company held rare live performances in the fall. Those measures still in place.
I was in contact with the health unit. We wanted to make sure we were doing everything right.
Joe Cardinal's production company was set to open an outdoor production of Into the Woods this summer, but not being able to rehearse in person is tough. And with a big cast, they can't do that under Step 2 either.
The cast of Into the Woods, for example, was at least 20 people in it.
Now that's delayed in the hopes for an indoor production in the fall. But questions remain about what comes next.
Everything's very cloaked. It's like, you know as much as we do. It's like they give you little bits and pieces of information, and we're just supposed to wait. And so that's what I'm doing.
MPP Lisa Gretzky met with artists today to field their concerns, how to reopen and how to do it safely.
I know there's been a lot of confusion.
Kristen Siapis says there's a real feeling of lack of stability.
I think we're really looking for a clear statement about when we can reopen, knowing that we're going to be in rehearsal for at least a few weeks before that, and then a real clear deadline for us so that we can reopen confidently. We can start to reopen with the size of houses that we need in order to make theater financially viable.
Gretzky says the industry is a huge economic driver and attention should be paid.
There is a lot of mental fatigue for people. And to have the performing arts opened again with proper public health protocols and safe to keep everyone safe, I think that's the boost that a lot of people need right now.
The provincial government says high vaccination rates mean it can look at relaxing restrictions at long-term care facilities. Starting July 7th, visitor restrictions will ease for indoor and outdoor meetings, meaning residents can access more care. The announcement was made during the first appearance of the province's new long-term care minister, Rod Phillips. He also promised to address the years of neglect brought to light during the COVID-19 pandemic. His first step, an apology.
Successive governments, including this one, failed residents, they failed families, and they failed our staff. And on behalf of both past governments and the current government, I apologize for that. I think that's a necessary step so that we can take the action we need to do now to move forward.
City Hall in Windsor will be bathed in orange light Thursday instead of the usual red and white. It's part of how the city is observing Canada Day this year, in light of the discovery of the burial sites of nearly 1,000 Indigenous victims of the residential school system. But as Del Molnar reports, the city has stopped short of canceling Canada Day altogether.
Teresa Sims of the Skanaa Family Learning Center sings the Eagle Song. She's also recorded the song in an educational video the city will be showing on the mayor's website Thursday afternoon. Sims says it's a song of friendship as a way of healing the anger felt by Indigenous people.
So we need to have that forgiveness and also help along the way, because we know how our ceremonies are. We kept them even though they tried to destroy them. We still know our ceremonies. To sing those songs, to also do the ceremonies for the children and bring them back.
Sims' mother was sent to residential school, and so Sims has her own stories to tell.
So she never learned English till she went to residential school. And her first day, they put a broom across the well, suspended this little 5-year-old over that water, and she had to say please and thank you before they would let her up.
This Indigenous man didn't go to residential school, but did go to Catholic school.
And we had to learn French, and they slapped our hands if we spoke our native language.
The city is promoting educational resources about the residential school system to encourage people to understand the historical actions taken against Indigenous people. Melissa Phillips from Museum Windsor has compiled a list of materials she used for her master's thesis.
I feel that A National Crime by John Malloy, for me, I feel like it's a good read that should be part of the curriculum as part of creating education and awareness.
In a statement released today, Mayor Drew Dilkin says he was saddened by the recent discoveries of the burial sites and is encouraging everyone to spend time building their understanding of, quote, this painful part of our national story. But he also defends Canada's reputation as well. The mayor says we are the nation of residential schools, but we are also a nation known for international peacekeeping, multiculturalism, and welcoming tens of thousands of refugees. July 1st commemorations most appropriately recognize both the painful and positive aspects of our national identity. We'll have more details on the city's suggested reading list on our website tomorrow. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
A Windsor print shop says it's hard to get your hands on orange t-shirts this Canada Day. Many are choosing to wear the color this year instead of red and white in solidarity with Indigenous people after the discoveries at former residential school sites.
Just a couple different local shops that were looking to sell a couple, and then there was a couple people that I knew were getting together for Canada Day that wanted the orange shirts instead of red this year, and just we weren't able to fill the order because we didn't have access to the shirts.
Standard says they usually get orders for red t-shirts in late June, but this year no orders for those, but several for orange shirts. Standard says the national suppliers he uses are completely out of orange. He says other shops like his would be in the same boat since they all rely on the same companies. CBC reached out to several large distributors of t-shirts in the country but did not hear back. The Ontario government is committing $300,000 to help combat Islamophobia in schools across the province.
In Canada, hate crimes have been on the rise. In 2019, we saw a 9% increase in anti-Muslim hate compared to the year prior. This is simply unacceptable and it must stop. Too many stories of students within our schools targeted because of their faith.
The majority of funding will go to the Muslim Association of Canada. It's aimed at creating digital resources to address misconceptions about Islam. $75,000 will also be used to create mental health resources for families and for students. Educators and students in Windsor say the funding is a good first step to address ongoing hate towards Muslims in Ontario.
I feel like they should be taught our reasons as to why we follow this religion. I feel like they shouldn't just look at it as a title, oh, they're Muslim, automatically hate. I feel like they should know the reasons as to why we do the things that we do.
I would like to see peace and their acceptance of one another. It's a loving religion that promotes love and acceptance, and they accept everyone. And I'm hoping that the message of love and peace that they always ask for. I mean, Assalamu alaikum is the first thing they say all the time, which is peace upon you.
People see Muslims straight as terrorists, straight away. That's not the case, because truthfully, a terrorist has no religion. A terrorist is just a disgusting, inhuman person. But we shouldn't have to see Muslims as that. No one should see a Muslim as that.
Just to start getting more customized to people around them from that religion and appreciate what they are and what they bring with them, and to add on their education as well, what other religions we have in our schools, and just be living all in peace and harmony.
I have a friend group of it's a very diverse friend group. Any person who I meet, I don't care what religion you are, I see you as a human being. That's why I've been able to keep these friends for so long. And I see them as family now. My family sees them as family. And I feel like people can continue on like this and live freely and happily so long as we see each other as human beings instead of members of a separate community.
Turning to sports now, tensions were high today as Germany squared off against longtime rival England in the elimination game for the Euro Cup.
Shaw across for Sterling!
Lots of love in England for their team, and here in Windsor, supporters for the winners were out in waves to cheer on their squad.
Coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home.
Three Lions coming home.
fantastic. You know, we got, lots of friends and family here. Really, very close friends. Families of Windsor from England.
A lot of guys we grew up with. Well, not grew up with, but played soccer with ourselves around here. So,
very
nice.
Special day. Very special.
I see it's a good thing there's social distancing going on, because if England score and anyone's within 6 feet of me, they're not safe. So anywhere and everywhere. Yeah.
What's it like? We've been coming here for all the games. They've done a good job of setting it up so that everyone can socially distance, but we can still enjoy the tournament. So it's been fantastic.
The only thing that would beat it is being in the stadium. So this is wonderful. Lovely weather. Can't moan. Nice of Doug Ford to allow us on the patios and, enjoy the game.
It could have been all songs in the street. It was nearly complete. It was nearly sweet.
I love that spirit there. England defeated Germany 2-0 for the first time in the knockout stage of a major tournament since the 1966 World Cup final. And a live look at our city there. That heat warning, it continues along with the severe thunderstorm watch. So Colette Kennedy, she'll be with us right after the break, and she'll tell you what you need to know as we deal with this sweltering heat. With parts of BC setting high temperature records and heat warnings in places across many parts of the country, finding a way to cool down may seem impossible, but here are some simple tips.
Sweltering in the summer heat with no AC and no hope for relief? The good news is it's possible to cool your house with nothing more than a strategically placed fan and a few small daytime measures. At night, the key is to take advantage of cooler outside temperatures and swap out the warm air inside your home for cool outside air. How? By pointing one fan out the window. Pick the room in your house that you want to cool the most. Say, your bedroom. Open a window there. This is where cool air will eventually rush in. Move to a different room located across the house from the one you just picked. Open one window there and place a fan by it, pointing outward. That fan will blow warm air out and create a low-pressure system in the house, which should suck cool air into your home through the window you left open in the other room. If you have a basement, chances are it'll be a few degrees cooler than the upper floors of your house. Spread that cool air through the house with a basement fan that points upstairs. During the day, it's important to shut your windows as soon as the outside temperature climbs above the indoor temperature. You want to keep as much of that cool night air in as possible. Try to block out direct sunlight by drawing your curtains and blinds. The sun's rays will heat the air in your house, but they'll also warm up your counters and floors. Those tend to have a high heat capacity, so they'll store that heat and continue to radiate it throughout the night. Then, let your house insulation do the majority of the work to keep your house cooler than the outdoors.
Now we bring in Colette Kennedy. Colette, those are some really practical tips that I'm sure some people will want to try out as we deal with this heat wave right now.
Yeah, and we're into the heat, and then we compare it to what our neighbors in Western Canada are going through.
Not quite as bad, yeah.
No, it's incredible. 2 days in a row, Lytton, BC has set the record for the hottest temperature ever recorded in Canada. Yesterday, we were up to almost 48 degrees, and look at, I say we, they, and look at today already 47, and keep in mind this is our time, and they still have some prime daytime heating. So we'll see if it's a third day in a row. It's not a record we really want to beat, or likely they don't either. But also keep in mind, when we measure temperatures, air temperature, we measure that in the shade, right? Because you want the actual air temperature, not the heating from the sun. So that's the temperature in the shade there. Then it kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it? For southwestern Ontario, our heat warning carries on as we're seeing those Humidex values approaching 40 or sometimes just sneaking into the low 40s. That's all going to be changing tomorrow, kind of midway through the days. We'll have a new air mass that's going to come in, and it'll have a slightly drier feel, more comfortable. But our temperature at the moment, 28, Chatham-Kent, you're 26, and we still have upper 30s, Windsor 37 for the Humidex. Now, severe thunderstorm watch. Earlier, we saw the warnings into southwestern Ontario with that line of storms pushing through. There's still some activity, so watch meaning that the atmosphere conditions are still ripe for severe thunderstorms to develop. But the moment those warnings are over towards the Toronto area, and there's that batch of storms that went through earlier with all the lightning strikes. And now, as we're getting towards the end of the daytime heating or the energy from the sun, we'll still see a few things. You still have to keep that watch take it seriously, but we will be seeing things winding down. It becomes more isolated. Still a few into the early afternoon in the vicinity, at least, if not right through Windsor. And Thursday, Canada Day, some isolated showers in there too. Not a rain out the whole day. Just be aware there's a risk of some wet weather. 21 tonight, tomorrow 28, and then the temperature coming down into the later afternoon hours, and we get a little reprieve there on the temps till they go back up towards 30 by the time we're at the end of the weekend, Kat.
Exactly. Nice to see, as you said, a little bit of a reprieve, bit of a relief. Thank you, Colette.
Yeah, a little break. You're welcome.
Exactly. All right, when we come back, we'll tell you more about how the heat wave out west is impacting pets. That's right after the break. As the heat wave continues to hang over parts of the country, a warning to pet owners. In BC, veterinarians say high temperatures have led to a huge increase in heat stroke visits involving all kinds of pets. And as Isabelle Rigam tells us, the weather has proven to be deadly for some animals.
Staff at this animal hospital in North Vancouver have seen a spike in pets experiencing heat strokes this weekend.
To be honest with how hot it is today, we're expecting more, and we're aware of more that are on their way down as well.
Kanesha Bush-McLean is a vet technician in the Fraser Valley. This weekend alone, she's seen over a dozen animals die from this heat.
There were multiple pets that had passed away at home. There were pets that had passed away trying to get into the clinic, as they were driving in to be seen.
Vets say it's important this week to keep your pets as cool as possible by keeping them indoors at peak hours and having fans set up. They say to watch for a variety of signs.
Wanting to find shade, wanting to drink more water. Sometimes they can be more non-specific, lethargy, vomiting, diarrhea.
And it's not just cats and dogs we need to watch for. Birds and rabbits have also been dying this weekend.
We've even heard stories of farmers and their livestock that don't necessarily have the cooling means for such large quantities of large animals.
If your pet is behaving unusually and you're not sure whether or not it's a symptom related to heat, you're advised to call your local vet just to be safe. Isabelle Rigam, CBC News, West Vancouver.
Now, when you think of a desert, ice is probably the last thing that comes to mind. Until now, that is.
Hot, like you feel tingling and like energy, like all over your body. Rejuvenating.
She's one of a group of people who drove into a Middle East desert to sit in a bucket of ice. The idea is to take people out of their comfort zones and boost their immune systems. The Swiss man who runs the session says he is a passionate hot and cold person, and judging by the reactions of people doing the desert version of the polar bear plunge, he is not alone. I mean, maybe this is the time of year to do just that in this heat wave. That is it for CBC Windsor News. For news anytime, you can check us out at cbc.ca/Windsor. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a great night.